Hey everybody, this is Renae from The Space Between, and you are listening to The Space Between podcast, the show that lets you listen to how the fans feel about the music, the art behind over 30 years of the Dave Matthews Band. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Space Between podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans of the Dave Matthews Band. Each week I bring to you another fan of the Dave Matthews Band to talk about their journey with the Dave Matthews Band. We have over 32 years, almost 33 years with this band that has literally changed so many lives. And so today is one of those days where we're going to talk about changing lives. And so today I have Letty Ryan all the way from New Jersey to share her journey with us. Thank you so much, Letty, for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really a pleasure.
Thank you. So tell me, how in the world did you meet? How did you find the music of the Dave Matthews Band?
Well, I found it a little late. So I had kids really early, and I had a teenage daughter who was very into different kinds of music and would sneak out all the time to go see different bands. And she came home 16 years old and said, "You got to hear this band." Went on. And I was like, yeah, typical parent. And I listened and I was like, they're good. Okay. But then I started hearing them on the radio. I started hearing them on local radio, which back in the mid 90s to the late 90s, you never heard of Dave Matthews being played on air. But some of these local New Jersey places would play them, and they would play every day. They would play Ants Marching. And you kind of like would get so hooked on the words and the actual music and the musicians, and kind of lulled around the music, bought a CD here and there. But it wasn't until I actually saw the band in person, and that was it. Like, that was it for me. Like,
you were sold.
I was so hooked. Like, I would have done anything to go see the Dave Matthews Band.
So we're going to talk about that, because I want to dig into what your experience was seeing them for the first time. But let's go back a little bit. So your daughter brings home this music, and that's kind of your first experience with them. What was it about them that made you like them enough to actually start buying CDs? Like, what was the sound you were hearing that was like, wait, what? Like, what did you like about it? Was it the lyrics? Was it the music itself?
I think it's a combination. And I think it was where I was in life, too. A lot of what I was going through. And like every day just kind of made you feel good, and Ants Marching, I'm driving to work every morning, and people going in every direction. It was like, oh, I'm on the parkway. I can't stand it, So you get this connection, and musically, I really didn't know a whole lot about the band back then. And it wasn't until seeing them in person, you see, I couldn't believe that sound came from those guys, like just Dave, Boyd, Carter, and Leroy. I couldn't believe that sound is coming from these guys. It made no sense to me, but there they were. And it was
insane. And for that time, I always kind of think in the early 90s, Dave Matthews Band came through in a time where popular music was very different. We were in the grunge area, Nirvana, a lot of those heavier bands were really what people were listening to. And so all of a sudden, here comes a band, the Dave Matthews Band, with a sound that no one else really sounds
right?
like.
I
So do
had,
you think there was an attraction to something that you had never
well,
heard before?
I was listening to a lot of like Depeche Mode and The
Uh-huh.
Cure
Oh
and
yeah.
Erasure, a lot of that alternative,
Yes.
Talking Heads, a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
that music.
Yeah.
It's so different,
Hmm.
Dave Matthews music, um, where you had a horn section and the violin.
Wow. I
No,
know.
like unless you were like a country band, you didn't have a violin. So it
Exactly.
was definitely a different sound,
Hmm.
but Dave's voice in the early days, and ugh, fine wine, he has just gotten better, so much
Yes.
better. Just his sound is still, it's Dave Matthews.
Yes.
But back in the early days, his voice was so different than
Hmm.
any male singer back in that time. So I think that was my um, early introduction, and then seeing them, and then the rest is just,
It's
what
still
can I
going
do?
on.
How can I get there? Yeah, I'm going to be 64. I've been listening to them. Um, 96 was when my daughter introduced me. Listened to them for about 10 years and got to see them for the first time in 2006. So it took me a while to
Hmm.
get to the point to go see them. But once I did,
No,
they were the number
I think
one band.
yes, and I think that your story is maybe more common than people think. Finding a band and not getting to see them for so long, but still being equally as in love with them as anyone that had
Right.
traveled to see them.
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of us did have children during that time where we found or were going into motherhood or fatherhood or parenthood,
Right.
and so there wasn't, for me in my life, there wasn't, I didn't have the ability to see them
Right.
for
Exactly.
so many years. And that didn't necessarily mean that I didn't love them. It just meant that I wasn't able to travel. And so I didn't see them
Exactly.
until 2015 for the very first time. For
Wow.
the very first time.
Oh,
And what did it
wow.
change the way I felt about them? Yes. And I think,
Yep.
just like you, I think a lot of people, after they see them,
Hmm.
everything just kind of clicks in your head and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, yes, I'm all
Yep.
in, right?
And I think the story of the band and how they have transformed over 30
Hmm.
years
Wow.
is, the generations. You get the people who I know who have been there from the beginning,
Hmm.
and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And then you have us moms who, we're married, we have children, we have
Right.
jobs.
Right.
Going to a show is not an easy thing to do,
No, no.
So yeah, I got a late start, but once I did, it was like Pandora's box. Not only did
Yes.
I get the music, but I got this introduction to a family, a
Mm,
connection of people
yes.
that when you hear Dave talk, you listen,
Yes.
shut the fuck up,
Yes. Say it
and just listen to
louder.
Dave. Shut the fuck up. Listen to Dave, because if you're not listening, and you're talking, you're going to miss this genuine human being
Hmm.
and what he has to say. And sometimes he's a little high and he rambles on, and
Yeah,
that's what I love about him the most,
exactly.
because that's his genuine self. He's being who he is, and he
Yes.
allows all of us. He just invited us to just come and be who we are.
Come as you are, right? Yeah.
Come as
That,
you
that's
are.
is that
It's
that's a
just such a
Nirvana
great
song,
thing.
right? Like that's a
I
lyric from
think it
Nirvana,
is.
I think. But hey, we can. How many times will Nirvana come up in this pod? A lot. We're talking about the 90s,
Yes.
right? So let's
Yes.
rewind.
Yep.
Let's go back a little bit. So you're going to your first show. Tell me where it was, who was with you, and
Yes.
tell me about that night.
So it was a combination of um, my two daughters,
Mm-hmm.
my oldest daughter, who introduced me, Leanne, my middle daughter, Stephanie, and Stephanie's little boy, my grandson,
Awesome.
Sergio, he was 2. He's now 19. So we were at Hershey Park. So we got
Oh my gosh.
2 for the price of 1.
Oh my
Hershey
gosh.
Park chocolate, and I got my candy too. I got Dave Matthews,
Oh my
so
God. That's the best, right? The
it
best
was
kind of
so
candy.
good. Smelling that chocolate all day
Oh my
and going to see
God.
Dave. It was
Yes.
really a great show. My daughter treated us. We stayed over in the hotel. We
Hmm.
had such a great time. It was such a great show. I wasn't a big fan of the kind of stands because they were like bleacher
Oh, sure.
stands at Hershey,
That's
unless you were on the
tough.
floor. It
Yeah.
was tough.
Yeah.
And but what a great time, just had such a ball. And then the whole weekend was just so much fun,
Oh,
and
yeah.
sharing it with them. It was a real blast, and I'll never forget it.
Oh, I bet not. I bet not. And so tell me, Sergio was with you. He was 2 at the time. He's 19 now.
Yeah.
Does he like the Dave Matthews Band? No!
No.
I mean, it's not for everybody. It's not for
No.
everybody,
No.
and
They're
that's
into
okay.
their own music. Yeah. My
Yes.
daughter Leanne she's evolved. She still listens to Dave. She's evolved into a John Mayer fan. She's a big John Mayer
I
fan.
mean, he's
And
amazing.
still, I love John Mayer too. I think
Yes.
he's great, a great
Yes.
guitarist. Um, my music has been, um, Dave Matthews. I still listen to a lot of country,
Hmm.
Willie Nelson.
Yes.
I just love the old stuff, the new guys, that are playing. But
Hmm.
my number one music is the Dave Matthews
The
Band.
Dave
It's
Matthews
just
Band.
and I'll follow, and if you're playing it, I'm gonna follow you. If you're playing Dave and you're picking up a guitar and you're doing Dave riffs, I'm your fan. I'm number
Yes.
one in your corner.
Yes.
I love it.
Okay, so after your first show, how quickly did you go see them the second time?
So, late 2006, I moved to North Carolina,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, built a house there with my then husband. And I would say probably within 18 months of
Hmm.
being settled, and I went to see Dave at the Raleigh
Uh-huh.
uh, concert that he had there. And that was a drive. I'm going to say it was probably about 2, 3 hour drive from where I lived. And had great seats. Took in-laws with me, who also started listening to the Dave Matthews Band because I was
You're
always
like a
playing it.
disciple. You're taking people
It was
and they're
great. We had a great time, really a great, great time. And after that, I did come back to New Jersey, and my life changed a lot within a couple of years. I left North Carolina, and kind of like Gray Street, I kicked out all the windows and I set fire to
hmm
that life.
hmm
And I came back to New Jersey, and in 2012, my daughter Leanne, the oldest, took me to Camden, and I had Pitt for the first time ever.
Ooh. What were your
And
thoughts? Like were you intimidated at
uh,
first because you are number one having to stand the whole time and number two you're just so
yes,
so dang close and like but
S-
but how was
that
it
was a
for you?
yeah, that was an issue. My daughter, wanted to make sure I was going to be okay. I had a lot of
Right.
health issues.
Okay.
Um, but I will tell you, that experience, I had so many people surrounding me that were like, "We got you. You got to run to the bathroom. We got your spot. You got to get a drink. We got your spot. You need to sit down. Don't worry. We got your spot." I mean, I was on the rail.
Oh my goodness.
Didn't know to have a phone and to, record or take pictures or whatever. I was just jaw dropping, every time Dave got close to me. Oh my God, I thought I
Yes.
was going to die.
Like you
My
get the
heart
chill
would be,
bumps.
and the people around me were like, "Oh, isn't she so cute? Look at her, how she," because
Yeah.
I'm the oldest person there,
Oh, I
um, and I had a lot of big, big guys, and they'd be
hmm
like, "Here, honey." stand in front of me.
Oh my goodness. So
Who,
sweet.
nowhere do you get that,
Right.
but
Right.
Dave
But they
Matthews
did.
Show, they did. And it was such a great Camden, I got to tell you, I love New York, but Camden has my heart. I love that place. I love every spot, lawn, seats, pit. You can go inside and cool off.
Hmm.
It's all air conditioned inside. What a great venue. The area, it's not great. It's Camden, New Jersey,
But it's
dirty
so
Jersey. What are you going to
close
do?
to what's the city?
Philadelphia,
Philadelphia. I know that sounds dumb that I
Philadelphia.
don't know, but I just went for the first time, and I mean,
Oh,
there's so many
beautiful.
things to do there, so
Yes, you
it's a
stay in
great
Philly.
trip. Yes,
Yeah, stay in
yes.
Philly and you get. So that was the highlight of my Dave.
Oh yes.
And that was the best time. And unfortunately, I had health issues. I wound up with breast cancer,
Oh my goodness.
and it changed a lot of things for
Hmm.
me.
Sure.
And I wasn't able to go and to see Dave. I
Hmm.
saw our mutual friend Rob Messina and his guys, Rhyme and Reason,
Oh yeah.
Dave Matthews Tribute Band, um, mainly because I couldn't really go anywhere.
Yes.
So locally, I could go see a tribute band play Dave, and I followed them. And I think the next time I actually got to see a show was probably 2014 or 2015. Basically because my health was
Sure.
just not good. It took me a while to recuperate. I had numerous surgeries, and I will tell you, people like Andy Mendoza. I remember Andy was doing Periscope at the time,
Yes.
and thank God, and Suzanne. And if it wasn't for folks like that,
Hmm.
I would have been excluded from this family.
Yes.
They invited me to join. I joined. I got to watch shows that they were at right in the front. Beautiful shows. The music was still living in me. Um, it really, I tell you, it really got me through um, what I thought was the worst time in my
Hmm.
life.
Hmm.
And I wound up with cancer again in 2018.
Oh my goodness.
This time it was killer. It was brutal. And if it wasn't for the people that I have met through the Dave Matthews Band, I don't know if I would have made it. I really don't.
Wow.
Um, I get a little emotional thinking about it because
It's a
I've
big deal.
gained
Yes.
I've gained so much. Um, I have made lifelong friends um, from this community, all because
All because of a band.
all because of a
Yeah.
band.
And that
And
sounds
still
crazy
to
to
this
people.
day,
That sounds
no, I know.
crazy to people. But it's
Yep.
true
Yeah.
because you're saying it, I'm saying it, other people are saying it. It's actually
Yeah.
happening. It is actually happening.
It's real. It's real. It's real life. And I know I'm not the only one. I
No.
know there are many of us who have had all different kinds of struggles,
Mm-hmm.
and this is just, what happened to me, and when I was able to see Dave again, um, it was in late 2020, um, after all the
Oh,
COVID
yes.
crap, and, oh, it was just such a nightmare. I struggled all of 2019, and the shows were going on, and I had good faith. I bought tickets, and
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't go. I
Yeah.
couldn't go anywhere, and but everybody did those live streams, and I was able to watch. Suzanne went everywhere across the world. Andy, anybody that went,
Yes.
I would just on Facebook click. Oh my God, it's Dave Matthews,
Yes.
and it made me really feel better at a
Mm-hmm.
time when I really did not think I was going to live. I really
Wow.
thought it was my end.
Wow.
And I I don't know how I don't know how I did it, but I will tell you, Dave Matthews Band music was probably one of the biggest keys besides my family support and the chemo
Mm,
and everything else that was thrown at me. The Dave Matthews Band and the music really put me in a place where I wanted to live again, and I wanted to be able to see, and I wanted to be able to see you and Suzanne and all the people that I've met since my cancer journey. Um, I've met so many amazing people. What an amazing group! And you have this great vessel that you're going to be able to meet all these people and talk with all these people, and we're all going to get to see and hear their stories. And there's so many, so many. I'm a tiny little ant in this gigantic
that's
ant
right.
farm that
We
we've
all are.
created,
We all are. And
and
there's this
it's just
gigantic
amazing.
ant hill now. And
Yes,
I,
it's a beautiful thing.
let's dig in. Let's dig into to the family. You've talked about how much it has helped you, and I believe in the power of music. Obviously, even outside of the Dave Matthews Band, but for me, that's kind
Yeah.
of what keeps my engine going, and you too. But
Hmm.
the music in general, actually does something in our brains to chemically make us feel
Yes.
better. And
Yep.
that's what it was able to do for you. And then on top of
Yeah.
that, you are surrounded by people who get it, right? Because that's important.
Yes.
You're surrounded by people who get it. But also, typically, the fans of the Dave Matthews Band are kind and compassionate and
Oh,
caring. And they
the
really
best.
do want to leave a legacy of love. And that's what you've been able to pull. So let's talk about
Yes.
like the evolution of the family for you. So when did you really kind of start getting invested in other fans of the band?
I'm gonna say, um, I had the biggest privilege to meet people who give back
Mm-hmm.
to their communities, um, and that was at a show in Camden, and they had what they called a tailgate.
Uh-huh.
They called it the tailgate caravan, and you
Yes.
paid a fee, and you got a bracelet, and you got to eat and drink, mix and mingle, meet all people who think just like you, and all to raise money for
Mm-hmm.
local charities like NAMI, the National Alliance for Mental Illness. They were giving to the Music Resource Center in Charlottesville. Um, Rob played music in the park. This in a parking lot in Camden. And
Yes.
I got to meet the most incredible people. And I thought, oh my gosh, what a great idea. You get people who are going to the show, get everybody together. They're donating to eat and drink and listen to music. And all for Dave,
Mm-hmm.
this is all happening. And it was such a great time. It was hot as hell, I
Yes.
will tell you that. But I am not kidding you. I met so many people. And today, I would say probably the majority of those that I met are still uh, friends of mine. And I get to see them every time I go to a show.
Yes.
And we get to reconnect, or we're friends on Facebook, or we're part of these communities
Mm-hmm.
with Dave families that are all on Facebook, and we take care of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when I got my cancer, these folks reached out and were like, "What can we do?" Well, unfortunately, not a whole lot that you can do, but what they did do was make sure that I got to hear the shows, SPAC, PNC, Camden, even the Gorge. Um, Folks were at the Indianapolis events out there,
Yes.
West Palm Beach, everywhere across the United States, I would get invited to link on and watch a show. And I will tell you, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't do a whole lot. I was curled up, chemo was killing me, but I could listen and I would just sit here and dream about a day that I could be back there watching Dave Matthews perform again. And
Wow.
that was really it. I mean, I kind of feel like when somebody does you a favor, you feel like you owe them a favor
Sure,
back.
sure.
And I always felt that way. I felt like all these people that I got to know and I got to love genuinely feel like they're part of me.
Yes,
And I feel like, hey, if they need help or they reach out and they need something, I'm there. Got your back.
that's
I'm
right.
there. Like,
Like
this is what
family,
we do for
right?
family. This is what we do. Yeah.
I don't use that term lightly when I say it. And it hasn't always been that way in my Dave Matthews Band journey. Same for you. Like family wasn't there from day one, but I think anybody that wants to be part of it absolutely can be. There are
Yeah.
no prerequisites to be part of this group of fans. You genuinely just have to love the band, and really everything else takes care of itself. I have never been part, and I'll go to record to say, I have been part of countless church groups, organizations, fundraising,
Mm-hmm.
like every kind of group you can imagine, and I have never been treated as good as I have been treated by the fans of the Dave Matthews Band.
Exactly. And
It's
that's what the band
wild.
stands for.
Hmm.
That's what they stand for. The kindness, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, um, the respect
Hmm.
of the earth,
Yes.
and the fact that we got to start taking care of it. Everything that band stands for is what links us to the music,
Yes.
and it is all about love. It's a love, not just our love for him, but his passion of what he wants to do and what he
Hmm.
wants to see this earth be green for his children and hopefully his children's children. And we all, as parents, that's what we want.
We do
We want
want
the
that.
same thing.
We do. We want
So,
the same
and
thing.
I think a lot of his songs um, give off that vibe of yes, if you give, you live. You're the best of what's around.
Hmm.
When you hear the song Warehouse, you feel like, yeah, we're all part of we're part of a club. This is us. We're going to speak and sing, and
Yes.
um, it's just an amazing for 30 plus
Oh my
years.
goodness. I mean,
It's
there are
amazing.
not a lot of bands. There are not a lot of bands that can do this, that have done
Right.
this, right? And even more reason to document this, right? I always say, like
Yes.
people are for the most part aware of the fans of the Grateful Dead and things like that.
Yes.
When you talk about one, you have to talk about the other because they go together. And I want that same picture for the Dave Matthews Band. I want when you
Yeah.
bring up one, you bring up the other because they complemented each other
Mm-hmm.
so well, right? And
Yep.
so I'm so
Absolutely.
thankful to be part of this story, and I'm so thankful to be alive at the same time as all this is
Me
happening,
too.
right? Like,
Boy, I'll tell you, praise God, I'm telling you, it,
yes.
I really had that point where I really didn't think I was going to ever see another Dave Matthews show. And when I did, like I cried. I really cried because I was so thankful,
Yes.
you know, and and I still get that way every
Hmm.
time I go to a show. You
Yes.
know, I may not be able to afford the finest seats in the house. I'll sit my butt on a lawn and I will enjoy, I will lay back, smoke my mind, and
Hell
I will
yeah.
feel good. I will feel good. And if I can dance, I'll dance. And if I can't, I'll sing. And, it's just such a great feeling
It's
that
the
they
best.
give you. It really is. And I'll tell you, saved, you know, I hate to get so, religious, but saved
Mm-hmm.
me,
Mm-hmm.
saved me
Mm-hmm.
from, what could have been. Because if I didn't get any positive, I think I wouldn't be here. And that music was a positive for me. And
Wow.
that's really why when we talked about, doing this, and I thought about what you're doing and how this is a fan based podcast, and how important um, every single story is to
Mm-hmm.
this legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Think about, like, when I'm gone. I'm going to be 64, so I'm a lot older than all you youngsters. But when you're my age, and the legacy of what the Dave Matthews Band was
Mm-hmm.
at this time, it's still going to be resonant. It's still going to be, like, mind blowing to younger kids. Like, oh my
Yes.
God, there was a band that was, significant music, releasing albums all the time and still performing all the time. I mean, the only time they didn't perform, COVID, but they did their stuff. And then when they took that short break, which had to really kill them, I think,
Yeah.
because I know what it was like for me. And
I
I
don't
don't
think they
play,
enjoyed it.
right? I think they were probably so miserable. They were probably, especially like Dave and Carter, who've been
Yes.
doing it, together since day one. But I think what you do and what you're going to do, and the future of your podcast, you're going to be so filled with um, stories. Some are going to be funny and wonderful, and then you're going to have stories that you're going to struggle to hear, But
Sure.
every one of us, we're all different,
All different.
and that's what makes the Dave Matthews Band so unique.
That is exactly. I mean, I can't think of one story that I have recorded yet that didn't, if I make me appreciate the band more. And I think that's exactly what I want to say is each story has made me appreciate it more because,
Right?
oh, I'm going to get emotional. Stop it.
It's true.
It's
It's true.
changed lives. And that's a big
Lives,
deal.
lives. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine where I would be today. Honestly, Renae, I don't think I would be here. I really don't. Um, so I have this allegiance, to not just the band, but the family, the friends that I've made. Um, that just a wonderful, the best of what's around.
The,
They're a wonderful
mm,
group of people.
yes.
And and uh, going back to the tailgate people, they have taken that to just an amazing. This year they were on a Good Morning America because of what they're doing, and the fact that they're giving these things. And then you see the Music Resource Center, and how that little tiny idea that Dave and the band had um, has just exploded.
Hmm.
And the talent, I'm telling you, the talent that's coming out of that Music Resource Center, it's going to be mind blowing in the
Absolutely.
future. Like, these young kids are going to be like, my grandsons are like 19 and 16. So they're in that age groups where they're going to start having their own bands, and their influence, of course,
Hmm.
is going to be Dave Matthews Band and all the guys in the band. It's just phenomenal.
It
Um,
is.
and just even the little things that we do for each other. When you see somebody post, hey, show so and so's on hard times, and then someone will donate a ticket.
Hmm. That
I
happens
mean,
so
come on.
often. And that blows my mind every time that people are so kind to
Right,
strangers. How we should be,
right,
right? How we should
right.
be.
You're never going to hear a story like that unless you're part of this Dave Matthews Band fan group. I mean, we will help folks out, um, no matter what.
Yeah.
We love each other. We feel that bond. That's what Dave Matthews has over band, any band that's
Exactly.
ever been.
Hmm.
That's the key to Dave Matthews. And I always say, he invites us all to come and join him for a night of music, and we leave feeling so much better. We
Yeah.
just do. No
Yes.
matter what's going on in our lives, we always feel so much
It gives
better.
you at least, 2 to 3 hours of just all the pressure is gone, right? Like all
Oh,
the worry is
it's
gone.
great.
It's
So
a bit of an
great.
escape, right, from reality.
Yes.
But what it
Eh,
brings you to is a reality that you didn't even know
yes.
existed, right?
And right now, winters are the worst
Oh, yes.
because it just sucks so bad we can't see Dave,
We
and
need the
they're going to
music.
go off. We need music. And and I feel like, did you ever like think what is going to happen when they decide? Like, right,
Nope,
that's my
don't want to talk.
reaction
I mean,
too.
I do talk about it because I don't think, I mean, let's be realistic for just a minute. We're at 33 years in
Yes.
2024.
Yeah.
The guys, Dave just turned 56 yesterday. Carter is in his mid 60s. I joke that,
He's my age. He's my age.
I mean, we're physically, can
That's a
we hold up?
strenuous thing. Yeah.
I don't
Like
know.
his body and playing drums like that. I mean, that's a tough thing.
It is
Um,
tough. And
oh,
just things like, I don't believe that if Dave's children are wanting to have children, I don't think he's that far away from being a grandfather. And we know
right.
that changes your life and your
Yes.
wants and everything. And so
Changed mine.
I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of change that's coming. Not that that's bad. Change is good. It means things are happening. But what will our lives look like when they are no longer putting out
Right.
new music and they are no longer
Yeah.
touring? We will always have
Hmm.
the music, thank God, right? We'll
Yes.
always have it.
Yes. Oh
But what
yeah.
will we
Thank
do with
God.
our time? And
I don't
what will
know.
happen to the family of the Dave Matthews Band? I mean,
I don't know. I think about it a lot as I get older, and I think about, you know, oh, you go, oh, I should slow down a little bit. I shouldn't go to this many shows and this and that. And then you go, oh my God, but what if?
right.
What if? And the thought is always in the back of my head that I think Dave would probably do solo
Mm-hmm.
um, career because he's um, some devil was a solo gig for him. Probably one of my
So good.
my favorite albums too. Um, but when they stop that, um, what will we do with our time? Like, can we still have parties
Yes.
somewhere and just
Yes.
listen to the music and,
Yes.
just
And
pretend that
people
we
like
are?
Rob and all of our tribute
Yes.
bands, because there are
Yeah.
several Dave Matthews Band tribute
Yes.
bands. I wasn't
Yeah.
aware of all of them, but as you go through social media, there's more and more. And thankfully,
Yes.
some have reached out to me and said, "Hey, we want to tell our fan story," because
Oh,
ultimately,
yeah.
a tribute band is a fan story. That's exactly
Oh, my
what that
gosh.
is. And
And there's
so
so many good ones. They're
there
really
are.
good.
So they'll be
And
able
even
to
the
give
guys
us
that, oh, yeah,
some
you'll
music.
you see them on Facebook. You see guys on Facebook that'll just,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're just going to play some Dave music. I love that
Me
about
too.
people. I don't have that ability to play anything.
Me either. I can't even
So,
play the
you
spoons.
know,
Like, I'm
um,
not musically talented.
but I'll tell you, Rob's a good guy. Him and his guys got me through. I used to sneak out of my house um, in stitches when I had a vasectomy,
Oh
my
my
first
gosh.
cancer, and I had to sneak out to go see them because I still had like the drains and everything. Wasn't supposed to even drive, and I used to go to this seedy ass bar just to see them. I'm not kidding you, just to listen to some Dave Matthews Band music. And
Doesn't
they
sound
they
crazy
really
at
got me
all.
through some, and no, it really was. I mean, for
And I'm
like,
a nurse. I'm
because I
like,
couldn't,
yes, do it,
yeah,
go.
I could not, I wasn't even supposed to drive. And, I used to like try to like sit in a spot where no one could bump me.
Sure, sure.
But they were just, I mean, they're really good.
Hmm.
So I got my Dave fix, and I did
Right.
that all of like the end of 2012, all of 2013, and probably all of 2014 until, we actually all went to Camden and PNC together. So I mean, just by meeting
Hmm.
Rob and the guys at Rhyme and Reason, I got to meet a lot of Dave Matthews uh, family
Oh yeah.
and tribute band, folks, and that's a like I said, that's just an extension, and hopefully Rob will keep doing what he's doing.
Yes, yes. And if you're listening,
I
guys,
I
and
plan on seeing him. I'm planning on seeing him on Friday night this
ooh,
week. He's
ooh,
playing here in New Jersey. Yeah, he's playing at a bar called Harpoon Willie's. It's in Manasquan, New Jersey, and that'll be my finally some Dave for the new year.
yes. Guys, if you're listening to this and you don't know who Rob is that we're speaking of, Rob Messina, he is an incredible musician. He is now doing something called the Dave Matthews Experience, I believe is
Yes.
kind of what he's doing. He has a likeness to Dave. There's some similarities in the way he is musically. But he is very talented and honestly one of the most kind
Yeah.
people I've ever met. I mean, genuinely,
Yeah.
he's so kind. So, guys, if you haven't checked him out, look up Rob Messina and the Dave Matthews Experience. You will enjoy his music. He lives in New Jersey, so he does a lot of gigs up that way. No, is it New? Does he live in New Jersey? Yes, right.
He does. Yeah, he
Yes,
lives
yes,
in
yes,
New
yes.
Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
definitely check it out.
He travels all over the United States to
Wow.
do gigs. Yeah, so
Wow. Wow. And his son,
yeah,
I saw his
definitely.
son, I guess it was this year at SPAC, maybe? Something
Probably.
somewhere up north. He
Yep.
brought his son, who is older. My guess would be
Yep.
16-ish,
He
something like
just
that.
turned 16.
Oh, look
Yep,
at
he just
me.
turned
Nailed
16.
it.
Yep. Yeah.
He is also very talented
Oh my
and
gosh, how
plays a lot with
great.
Rob. And so, what an incredible thing to get to do with your kid is to not
Yeah.
only play with them, but get to play your favorite band's music, right? Like,
Oh my gosh, it's so cool.
what a bonding thing. So, definitely check
Oh,
out
I
Rob
remember when
Messina.
he was just a little tiny little thing when I met
No
him,
way.
and I'll tell you, he has just grown, and he's really so good on guitar. He's so good. He
So
really has
good.
learned a lot. So Rob did something really
Yes,
special
he did.
by putting that love of being a musician and
That's
a
right.
passion
That's right.
into his son. So yeah, it's a pretty cool thing.
Well, I'm so jealous that you get to live so close to so many amazing people. As we've mentioned, I know that you know Susan Swirl. Of course, we talked about Rob Messina. Who else was it that
Yes.
we knew when we were talking earlier? There was someone else. And speaking of, if you don't know Suzanne Swirl, she's a big Dave Matthews Band fan. She does travel a lot with the
Yes.
band. She does do the Couch Tour, which was something we were talking about earlier. If you're not aware of what the Couch Tour is, it is a group on Facebook, and what their purpose is for if someone is live at a show, they can stream in live through that group, and people that are members of that group can actually watch live shows. Now, as of right now, you could probably watch any show. I know that they were streaming live from South Africa when the band was there.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, I saw.
they'll be in Cancun. I mean, if you've never checked out the Couch Tour, be sure to check it out. And if you are on the admin side of the Couch Tour, call me because I want to put you on the show. I need to know how all of this
Yes.
started.
Oh my gosh.
Would that not
Oh
be a
my
cool
gosh.
story?
Oh my gosh, yes. Because like I said, it went from, the Periscope days, and then it became something that they could do, through Facebook and doing that watch live. And
Yes.
these folks, how wonderful. They'll be right up front. And, I gotta say, like, so many people that I've watched, Angela Cooper, all these folks,
Yes.
Christy Burke, all these people that go right up front, and they literally, I mean, I know what it's like to hold my phone doing this podcast.
Right?
I can't imagine doing that for the entire night.
No.
And you're trying to capture every wonderful part of the music, and these folks selflessly do this.
Yes.
They're not paid, they're
No.
not gifted. This is just something that they do from their heart, and it reaches so many. Sometimes I see like thousands of people. The little number will be up there, thousands of people watching, and it's just amazing. And I can't thank every single one of those couch tour people that have ever recorded, not just Dave, but any music that they've shared with us audience people. It is so wonderful, because a lot of us just can't. We work, we can't do it. We can't travel all over the world. But the fact that they do it, those folks that went to South Africa, God bless them. The fact that they were willing to do it, and I know the signals were bad, but
they were.
Oh, it was so wonderful to see. It was so wonderful.
And they were able to capture, what was it, Every Day, that we had made it all the way through 2023. Never heard it once, which blows my mind still to this day, that something as known as Every Day was not played, but they saved it for like the best time, right? Like, of course, we were all blown away at the way they were able to play it, and the guest, and it was amazing. So yes, we cannot thank everyone enough that participates on the couch tour, because the music is delivered to us wherever we are, and that can really make a big difference in someone's day. If they're having a tough day, even if you're having the best day, there's just no mood that can't be improved. And I believe that the music has the power to improve any mood. So we're just super thankful for the couch tour. And again, if you're involved in that, please reach out to me, because I'd love to hear how all of this started. But let's go back to Gray Street right quick, because I think that this will be the perfect closer for this episode. And Letty, I just cannot thank you enough for sharing your heart, sharing your story, sharing some very personal details. But I think that was so kind of you, because it really did paint a picture of what not only the music was able to do for you, but what these incredibly kind fans who received nothing back for doing kind things, other than just that's the kind of people we want to be, right? We just want to leave a legacy of love.
The best of what's around, honey.
That's
they
right.
Are so good.
Can't say it enough. So thank you again so much for being on this show. So let's go back to Gray Street right quick, because I think that this is the perfect way to close this episode, because you brought it up earlier. And while Gray Street is played very often, I don't think it's something, I think most people have heard it live. If you have gone to a concert, I feel like it's been played a lot in the last couple years, and in 2021, the return of the third verse as they opened back after COVID. And I remember the reaction of the crowd when he broke into that third verse. It was as if, I don't know, it was such a celebration. But I think the third verse of Gray Street deserves to be celebrated, because it is so deep, and for me it is so personal, and it sounded so much like it was for you too. So I'm going to read just the third verse of Gray Street. There's an emptiness inside her, and she'd do anything to fill it in. And though it's red blood bleeding from her now, it's more like cold blue ice in her heart. She feels like kicking out all of the windows and setting fire to this life. She could change everything about her using colors bold and bright, but all the colors mixed together to gray, and it breaks her heart. For me, and then I'm going to let you tell me what those lyrics do for you. I think everyone goes through a lot of change in their life. Life is full of change. But there are some changes in my life that I made that were my choice to make. And those choices led to such freedom and such joy and I was able to change my life. And when I did that, it really was just like the song said. I metaphorically felt like I did kick out the windows and I set
Yep.
fire to everything that had burned me, that had done me wrong, that I didn't like, and that I had the power to change it. And so every
Mm-hmm.
time I hear that song, I think, wow, I look back and go, my God, what a journey it's been.
Mm-hmm.
But what an amazing journey it has been. And so, yeah, that's such a powerful song for so many people, and not just women, The song, the song has a woman in it, but I think that
Right.
men can look at it
Yeah,
exact same way. And so what does Gray
sure.
Street mean to you?
Well, that verse was literally my life and where I was. And I am that woman.
Mm-hmm.
That song empowered me um, to kick out the window
Mm-hmm.
and literally burn what was behind me and walk away. Just walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And it was scary. And I was alone. Um, and I didn't have anything. And everything I felt like I was going to do didn't look all bright and kaleidoscope. It was a very gray place.
Mm-hmm.
But when I finally got where I needed to be, that song continued to be my anthem through cancer, not just the first time, but the second time as well. It was about kicking cancer's ass, beating the odds, um, setting fire to all that behind me, and hope that I can break free,
Oof, yes.
right? And hope that I can break free. There's always hope. Um, and so I have that. Gray Street will always be my song. It's always going to be my anthem. But little by little, other songs have become, um, special to me. Dodo is a
Absolutely.
special song for me.
Yes.
Um, and I love Break Free because I feel like after 13 years, I have broken free. I've broken the chains that have kept my past around my ankles.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel a lot freer. My health is a lot better. Thank God and thanks
Mm-hmm.
science and
Yes.
and thanks to the music, for getting me through it. And gray is my color. You'll see everything in my room is gray.
I
I wear a
love
lot of gray.
that. Gray
So
is just the
gray's my
color.
color.
It's a great color.
It is a color.
And guys,
It's
if you
it's every color. It's every
it is
color.
literally
It's
every
every
color.
color mixed
All the
together.
colors mixed together to make
It
gray.
really is.
So,
It
guys, if
really
you are
is.
just listening to this on a podcast app, just know that you can watch this. And I want you to watch this to see Letty, to capture her face as she's telling the story, because honestly, guys, like, you are such a gem. And I know that you are feeding into other people the same way people are feeding into you. And so
Yeah.
it's just a circle of kindness. And so thank you for
Yeah.
everything you've done. But I want to
Thank
talk
you.
about, we have to talk about what's behind you. If you are watching this on YouTube, of course you can see her, but you can also see her beautiful Dave Matthews corner. So Letty, just guide
My
us through this
corner.
right quick. Like, tell us a little bit about this picture and the letters, and then we'll go into a closing.
So these are from when I saw Dave and Tim in Nashville at the Ascend Theater. And then I have my young Dave. And this is a photo that when my daughter was downsizing, she was going to get rid of. And I was like, I don't think
No way,
so.
Jose.
No way, Jose. And then I have up there, I have the metal art.
Oh, I love
Um,
that.
and there's a letter that was left on my car. Someone saw me parked and they said, "Hey, I saw you driving around town. I guess you were on your way to a Dave Matthews show." My car is all kind of tricked out. I have a lot of Dave
Oh,
stickers and
yeah.
everything on my
Yeah,
car.
as
Oh, I
you
have to
should.
represent. So they were like, "I hope you went to MSG and I hope you enjoyed the show." Um, I have my a wine bottle.
Oh, I
Um,
love that.
so so it's a Dreaming Tree wine bottle, but it has lights inside. So I cut out the emblem,
Yes.
and there's all necklaces. And each necklace, and I'll see if I can get you a little closer, but each necklace is
Oh, my.
one of the Dave songs.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
there's like So Damn Lucky and Lying in the Hands of God and Dreaming Tree, and each one has a charm. And when we did the tailgate caravan this year, in order for me to try to donate some money, I walked around with a grab bag, and for $5 you could grab and you would get a necklace, and each necklace had a charm. So there was like a Halloween, the pumpkin, there's a pig, a spoon for so all little tiny little charms on that, and I was able to make a donation to the tailgate caravan. And then I have, of course, my fire dancer. And there's a
Yes.
picture here, and it's quite funny because this year at MSG, I was fortunate enough, and I don't know how this happened, Renee, honest to God. I went there, couldn't find my seat. A gentleman that worked there brought me to my seat, and I said, "I think there's been a mistake," because I knew I wouldn't ever be able to afford to be that close to
Sure.
the stage. And he said, "No, no, no, you were picked as part of a friends and family."
What?
What? 5 seats, 5 seats right by the stage. So I made it into the Dave selfie.
Oh, my God. That's a big deal.
That's a huge deal. Now you can barely see me,
You're
but
in
I
it,
made
though.
sure I took the time in it. I finally made it. So listen, I finally made it. My claim to fame. So this is my little corner of the world.
I
And this is
love
where I
that.
like to watch my stuff, my Dave stuff. I also
Yes.
have a dodo. I don't know if you could see her. I did buy
Let's
I don't have
see.
a very large place, but I did buy a I bought the
Oh, I
dodo.
remember when that came out, all the different
Right.
variations of the dodo, and I
That's it.
love that. Oh, it's
Yeah.
so good. It's so beautiful.
I don't have a lot of wall space. So I did what I could do
I
with what
love
I had, and
it.
I said that song kind of resonates with me because I am a dodo. So
I love that song. And way back in season 1 of the show, me and a friend broke down the song Dodo. And of course, it was just what we thought it meant. But that song is it is a very deep and meaningful song. It is an
yes.
incredible song. So if you're not familiar with Dodo, I would definitely check it out. But I would check it out and
Yeah.
read the lyrics, because the lyrics they're powerful. They're really good, and it might make you Google some stuff because it's very complex. I think
Right.
Dave writes in like a language that needs to be interpreted. I'm like, okay, well,
He's
let's see.
very eclectic. Yeah, he's very eclectic. And if you think about it, there was a time when people really did think that the world was flat.
Sure, absolutely,
So
absolutely.
now we've evolved. We've
We have,
evolved.
and we're going to keep evolving, and that's just what has to happen. So I can't thank you enough for being on the show, guys.
Oh my gosh.
It's just an absolute pleasure each week to get to hear people and tell me how, not only how they found the music, but how it's affected their life, because that's the story. We know the music's good. There's no debate in that. Not to me. But the story is how it's changed so many lives, and how
Yeah.
the fans, even outside of the music, continue to invest in each other and make the world a better place. And so that's the story that I'm writing. I feel like every day we get up and we turn on the news, and for the most part it's all negative. It's all bad news, and the world is full of bad news, and I hate that.
Terrible.
I hate that. But what I wanted to do was, in some small way, remind people that there's a lot of good left too. And one of the good
There is.
things is this music, but especially the fans behind the music. And so each week, I just want to bring some good news to everybody and share the message of the Dave Matthews Band, right?
Woohoo,
Yes, yes, I'm a
woohoo.
disciple. I'll say it. I'll say it. So
Me too. Me too.
it's great. So, guys, be sure to check out this next week. We'll have another guest on, and a few fun things that are coming up. I'm so excited about 2024. I knew that we took a break in January, and that was all because we have some big things happening on the show. If you have ever heard of the DMB Almanac, well, they came on the show and they gave us
Oh my
how they
God.
did it, why they did it. Did you know that it's all ran by fans of the Dave Matthews Band? The fans of the Dave Matthews Band are doing big things, and that is what this podcast is about. And so stay tuned. Each week we're going to have someone different tell their story. But Letty, thank you so much for coming on this week.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate
Oh
you
my
so
gosh.
much.
Thank you. I wish you all the love and all the best with this. I really do.
Thank you so much. So, guys, stay tuned. And again, if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. And if you are watching YouTube, be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. All the things that your 16-year-old says as she's recording her YouTube videos. Well, I need it too, because that's how we know that people are listening. So, guys, thank you so much. Stay tuned. And like I say every week, peace, love, and Dave Matthews Band. Thank you so much, Letty.